Guys, I hope that you're super excited about this mega huge pump again on Bitcoin. Bitcoin keeps surprising us, which is absolutely epic. And but the big question is, was I actually wrong about my bearishness and about me thinking that, we have to have a huge dump and, Bitcoin has to go even lower? And let's discuss this, because there are so many things that we actually have to pay attention to and something we have to talk about, something that actually would render, my bearishness and my negative outlook potentially for Bitcoin completely irrelevant. But before you scream at me in the comments, make sure to watch this video from the beginning and until the end. If you have an opinion, please first watch the video till the end and then leave your opinion down in the comments, and that would be very much appreciated. As always, if you appreciate these updates in general, then please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell so you're always notified when I make a new upload. And also call me Mr. Spot On down in the comments, and you would say, why Spot On, Mr. Thomas Krallo? Why Spot On? Because as you remember, I actually had my short trade here on Bybit. And by the way, if you want to be trading on Bybit as well, there is a $30,000 bonus, deposit bonus, only with my exclusive link down in the description of this video. So the thing is that, as I told you before, let's quickly just talk about what happened, and then we're going to talk about how sustainable is this pump and what kind of resistances are coming in, etc. And there are quite a few very important ones which I'm going to be paying attention to in the coming days and weeks. So the thing is that, as I told you, let's just go back to what we had previously. So we had this short entry right from the breakdown from this wedge, and I told you that our target is what exactly? So as I told you, the target was this blue support of $20,362, and look at how spot on we actually came to it. And I told you, this is your initial take profit. So I personally didn't take the profit here. I thought, what if we're gonna move lower? And the reason why I could afford to do something like this is simply because I have a huge spot trade, which I've opened since like $16,000 or $17,000. And again, I'm gonna link a video up here, and this is a video right here. So it's, as you can see, this was posted 2 months ago where I bought 30 Bitcoin, and here it is. Nice. I just purchased 30 Bitcoin. So if you want to see this video, then again, you can check it out. And this is the reason why I really wanted to keep my short trade over on Bybit right until the moment when it comes to my entry point. So we've actually formed this very important support and actually created another sub channel within, like right below this channel. And then it ended up actually being a huge pump to the upside. And actually I left with a zero loss, just as I told you. I don't really, as I told you in the previous video, and here is the previous video. If you haven't seen it, you really have to watch it to understand what is happening and what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So that's why I left this short trade with really zero loss, so I didn't lose anything on this active trading, but at the same time I protected my potential downside, which could have continued actually in terms of my spot trade. So therefore, this is a beautiful way to trade, that you avoid any potential losses for your long-term portfolio at the same time as you're compensating for certain price fluctuations. So this is what I'm showing you. This is professional trading. And also, if you want to learn all of these things, then go to thomaskrallo.com and become one of my students at my certified and accredited trading learning programs. So therefore, all this movement, we did some hedging, and actually at the end of the day, we made money because we have a huge spot trade. So now let's talk about what is happening right now and the reason why did Bitcoin price pump. And guys, and the answer is actually very, very simple, because we had this down move in general, which actually a lot of people got scared of, and this is the reason why I actually shorted Bitcoin, but I shorted it more technically than fundamentally. Really, it was just a coincidence, technicals plus fundamentals. So it was the reason when the DOJ was coming out with a huge announcement, and then it ended up being just this Bitslut, whatever exchange that got shut down. And so then the Bitcoin price realized that, okay, so DOJ is not banning crypto or anything, right? So something that could have actually had a long-term effect on the Bitcoin price. That's why it just erased all the losses that, all this fear from this announcement of DOJ, and actually ended up pumping. And right now, so we already understand why is Bitcoin pumping, because before this DOJ announcement, Bitcoin was already getting ready to pump with actually quite some volume, and then this DOJ bullshit came out. Then we dumped. We realized that there was nothing bad about it, and we just continued the pump that initially was supposed to be continued anyway. This pump actually right here, the continuation, this pump was supposed to come here. DOJ broke us, and then we just continued the pump. So that's it. So this is actually quite beautiful. But now the question is, because in the previous video I was giving a very important model of previous recessions, of all the previous drops and crashes, and now the big question is, Thomas, are you flip-flopping? Thomas, are you wrong? And the answer is, to be honestly, guys, I don't think I'm wrong. I think that this is a short-term pump, as I told you so many times before. We're going to talk about the resistances and the targets in just a second. And it could be just like so many times we've seen before when we were seeing some kind of a pump, and sometimes it could be even a 300% pump. So we could even go to $30,000, $40,000. That's why I have a lot of spot Bitcoin just in case. That's what I've kept telling you about. But do I really think that it's going to be the end of the bear market? I really don't think so. But there is still one chance, one instance, which could actually override my opinion. Because again, we're seeing a lot of really terrible news, which is number one, crypto lender Genesis is actually filing for bankruptcy. We'll see how that affects DCG. There is a lot of investigation going into this, so there is nothing good happening when it comes to this stuff. Also, we're saying that, this debt limit that has to be increased, and the Treasury Department has started employing extraordinary measures, but the path to raising the debt ceiling is likely to be a very long one. Because we know that right now we're at the limit of $31 trillion, 31.4, and the United States hit a limit this week on how much money it can actually borrow, forcing the Treasury Department to initiate a so-called extraordinary measures to make sure the nation has enough cash to fulfill its financial obligations. And a lot of the Republicans really don't want to raise that debt limit. And guess what? If they don't raise the debt limit, United States runs out of money. So this becomes a really big problem that is still, hovering above us as a dark cloud. And despite this, we're still seeing this huge pump in the Bitcoin price. This brings me to some positiveness before we move to the chart and talk about exactly what I think could be this catalyst event that could render all of this negativity irrelevant. So here is what you want to see. So number one, before we move and talk about it, so we right now are seeing potentially the hugest amount of short liquidations to date. So because this is actually from January 16th, so right now we have even more liquidations from yesterday's pump. So this is like coming very close to the time of the bull market right here when everybody was shorting this Chinese FUD. So, and right now we have just as many liquidations. So this is, guys, this is absolutely crazy. So this kind of, amount of liquidations could provide this foundation to completely change the scales and tip the scales in the market for in a short-term perspective. This is very important to understand. So now, when it comes to the aspect that could actually serve as a catalyst for us to actually render everything I've mentioned previously irrelevant, and that is something that I've mentioned before, and that is actual decoupling of Bitcoin from the other high-risk assets such as S&P 500. So, because let me explain what this means. We're currently seeing a huge pump in Bitcoin. Like, look at how beautiful this pump is. But if we're going to take a look at the S&P 500, it's not really pumping that very much. So what we actually can see right here is, it still is kind of going sideways-ish, and we are saying, this resistance still unbroken and still unshaken. And that's why I was saying that I really don't like how this whole thing looks. Despite Bitcoin is pumping like crazy. So in this instance right here, at least in a short-term perspective, Bitcoin is actually decoupling from the S&P 500, which is, if this kind of a momentum continues, if Bitcoin regains this real, true proprietary rights thing, and also the store of value, and finally people are going to be buying it and it's going to decouple and create its own price momentum without any correlation with other high-risk assets, which it gained because so many institutionals are moving into it, then this could override everything. It might actually, we could see a huge recession and, devaluation of the dollar, whatever, something really bad, some huge recession, but Bitcoin is just going to pump to $100,000 just because people will finally realize how much value this actually holds for the humanity. So let's not get into all these topics as to why Bitcoin is just superior to everything else in terms of asset classes. So, and this could render everything I've said irrelevant. It would still stay relevant for S&P 500, for the potential doomsday, for the potential, S&P 500 dropping another 40%, just like we've seen in so many other previous recessions and the times of bad economic environment, etc. So it could still stay relevant for the general risk assets, but for Bitcoin, if it decouples and keeps showing this kind of momentum despite everything we're seeing in high-risk assets, this could completely change the game. So I just wanted to put it out there so you don't tell me later I didn't tell you this. So also, one of the things I really wanted to mention before we take a look at all the technicals is the oil price. This is one of the things that actually currently worries me, because we have this diamond pattern and we actually saw a huge reduction in the oil price at the bottom at like 46% reduction. And this also served as a reason why we saw such a huge reduction in inflation. And right now we are still coming because it has to actually break up or down at some point. So, and we were hoping for a breakdown, but with everything OPEC is doing in the current, geopolitical situation, which is not getting much better, we're potentially eyeing a breakout to the upside from this whole pattern, which actually put our target about above $100 per barrel, which again is going to tremendously affect the inflation because the gas prices on the pumps are going to be higher, etc. So, and this could actually slow down this progress that we were seeing from Fed, all the tightening, etc., which could increase the likelihood of us going into a recession and us seeing this cascading rubbish again, as we've seen so many times before. So this is again bringing us to the same topic. So this is one of the worrying signs I really wanted to mention in this video. But now we've understood that there is some kind of decoupling happening right now. And is it possible to predict whether it's going to continue? Unfortunately not. But it's something that is very positive currently on the table. Now let's talk about resistances, because right now we have incredibly important resistances coming in, which is what you have to be really paying attention to. And guys and girls, if you want to see all of my personal trades and the trades of my team, then go down into the description of this video and join our free Discord channel. This is exactly where you're going to be able to see all of our trades, all the explanations, targets, take profits, stop losses, fundamentals, technicals, all of it. And the actual trade results of our members are absolutely exceptional. Not every trade is a profit. Obviously, we are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But overall, we are doing fantastic. And overall, we are in a very good profit. So, and also, all you need to do is join this VIP signal section. And there is a quick instruction of how to join it. It's very simple and very straightforward. And it's free. It doesn't cost any money. So go down into the description of this video right now and join us literally right now. Now, if we're talking about resistances, then right now we're actually breaking with quite a bit of volume. Let's quickly take a look at the volume. We're seeing quite a bit of, actually not that much of volume. Look, it's on a daily chart. We're not seeing that kind of an explosive. I mean, we saw an increase in volume obviously during this whole pump, but the volume at the break of this important resistance isn't that huge. This is quite, interesting, because we have this confirmation, this, kind of a confirmation for this whole resistance line, which is the most important resistance for us at this point, which we actually closed above in the daily chart, which is the resistance was at about 22,300, and currently we've just stopped at this green resistance, which I've been telling you about before, that if we do push so high, then this is going to be one of the resistances to pay attention to, which stands at about $22,660 something. And if you're going to go to a smaller time frame, it's incredible. Look at how precise this is. So actually, we got slowed down by this resistance, then we pumped to the next one, and now we're consolidating, creating this kind of a wedge formation here as well, seemingly preparing for a potential break and maybe another consolidation. So this is quite interesting, and this is a very important resistance for us, but this is not the only most important resistance you guys really have to be paying attention to. The next one, obviously, if we're going to break the few of them that I'm going to show you, the next one is going to be about $25,000, and if we just pump so high, so fast, then this is going to be quite crazy. And I mean, I'm going to be very happy because I have a huge spot portfolio. So what I want you to see is in the weekly chart, and if we're going to turn on 50 moving average and also 200 moving average, you will see that this is probably going to be the most important resistances, which could, potentially trigger a bull market kind of a thing, which again, I'm not really seeing it happen yet, unless we're going to see a true decoupling of Bitcoin from high risk assets, which is important for you guys to understand. So we have, this is yellow one is a 200 moving average, 200 week moving average, and also the blue one is 50 week moving average. And remember, every time we were in the bull market, we were actually above both of these. So, and most of the time, even during COVID, we barely went below, just a week below the 200 moving average in the weekly chart. And right now we actually traded for quite some time below it. So it's actually, the price is weaker than during the COVID crash, but obviously because people were, US was actually printing money back then. So right now, this is our huge resistance. Look, this is going to be our main target, the huge biggest resistance. If we actually sustain this momentum and actually close and stay above 22,600, then this is going to be $25,000. Is this going to be the most important part of the resistance of the chart? And actually, if you're going to take a look at the same kind of moving averages, then you're going to see it's the same thing for S&P 500, because we're standing at it as of right now, actually, right at the 50-week moving average. And then this yellow one, which is 200-week moving average, is currently supporting us. As you can see, it has been supporting us for so long, since 2008. Look, so in this kind of when we had this death cross, we actually went down, and then finally when those crossed over, this is when the bull market actually began. So as of right, again, it's very far away from any kind of a crossover, but the price will certainly have to make its decision very soon, because we have this broadening wedge, but it's being squeezed right here by these two moving averages, which at some point, which seems like by May of this year, by summer of this year, they will actually come together, and the price will at least has to fucking decide where it wants to go. Obviously, it's not going to be a technical decision. It's going to be a fundamental decision based on probably the extended probabilities of us going into a recession. So this is, guys, what you have to be paying attention to. If you've been following me for quite some time and you've actually bought some Bitcoin together with me back when it was $16,000-$17,000, and I bought like $500,000 worth of it, and this means that I have quite a hefty profit right now, so I'm very happy about it. So guys and girls, let me know what do you guys think down in the comments right now. Check out this quick tutorial to buy bets so you know exactly how to trade in a smart way with proper risk and money management. And again, stay smart, stay rich. Peace and love. Thomas Krallo. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.